NEONVICE here with Ariel, and we're going to be talking about his art today. If you guys want to help support the interview series that we're doing, go to patreon.com/NEONVICE, and you can check out his Facebook page at Ariel ZB. And he's also got a Blogspot account, which is...
Yeah, just Google Ariel ZB.
Just Google.
That's the easiest thing.
Alright, so can you tell us a bit about your art?
Sure. I went to, first of all, LaGuardia High School, so I started pretty young for the art major, I guess. And then I went to FIT for fashion illustration, so I have a background in that a little bit. And then I was really wanting to be a comic book artist, and it developed into showing some of my work to synthwave artists, and I started doing album covers for Perturbator and like TREVOR SOMETHING, VHS GLITCH.
Cool. And so did the passion for the music come first?
Not really. I mean, I discovered this type of music pretty late, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but just scrolling around on YouTube, like seeing video game music, and then eventually led me there.
Yeah, okay. Cool. So you have a little bit of education in art.
Yeah.
How do you think that's sort of helped you?
It helped me because there's a lot of live sketching for fashion illustration. So it's like you just sit there and drawing from the model all the time, which I prefer to photo reference illustration, which you usually get if you take just a standard illustration course.
Okay. And we saw you do this, which is super quick.
Thank you.
So is that from your experience just doing it for so long?
Yeah, it's also because I never really liked to draw even from a model or from observation much when I was younger, so I'd always just draw it in my head. That's more like the comic book way, and I think it's the best way to learn how to draw.
Okay. And your themes are mostly women?
Yeah.
Kind of dark themes?
It's not always, it hasn't always been like that, but eventually it progressed. I guess because of the fashion training, we always were drawing women, and before that I would split about equally, 50-50, but I started to draw women way more than men after a while.
And so how does that apply to your comics?
It's always a selling point, sexy women. I mean, who doesn't want to see that?
Yeah.
I want to see it, so I draw it.
So what do your parents think about your work?
They love it. I mean, they're like old hippies, so they're pleased with anything.
That's cool. So you do a lot of sketching, but you recently got a tablet. Are you going to be doing more digital art? Or? Yeah,
at first I was just thinking it was gonna just make the coloring quicker, but then I realized, hey, the lines almost look the same as paper, so I could just draw the whole thing in here if I wanted.
Yeah. Can you explain the difference between processes, or is it pretty much
the only
same?
difference is that with the tablet you have way more options, but since I'm new to it, I guess I'm still better at drawing the actual hand control on the paper. But with all the options and the layers, there's infinite possibilities, and it's a little bit overwhelming, and I haven't figured it out yet because I haven't really done an actual finished piece yet because I keep on playing around with shit.
Yeah. So you start with one, and then
there's like just like many layers. I'm like 40
layers of like sketch.
I really prefer drawing the beginning part of the drawing. So with the layers and just drawing it over and over again, and not getting to the finish because I don't like doing the finish as much. Okay.
Can you talk about the full process of beginning a drawing and going through finishing?
So normally I would start with a quick layout, which I try to draw as fast as possible so it has energy and motion. And then if there's elements that I need reference for, I go online and search for reference for a while. And that can include anything from just a Google search or remembering a movie that has the right thing and actually freeze framing it like every 10 seconds to get the right one.
For like a background or
for anything.
Or just someone dancing?
But yeah, mostly I would use reference for backgrounds or vehicles, like cars, motorcycles and stuff. I can't draw that out of my head. But yeah, and then after that reference, then it's just like putting it in, the shapes in, and then the finished lines basically and the shadows, then scan it in and color it on the computer.
Okay, and is that part of like matte painting? Like I hear that term, I don't know.
Matte painting?
Yeah, you just like take references and just like sketch over them?
Matte painting would just be like flat shapes, almost like flat color shapes. I mean, I do that sometimes, but I don't really use too much digital painting methods as much as most people would. I'm just more flat with lighting effects and just line work.
Okay. So right now you do a lot of like people sketches and you do stuff for album artwork.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do like game concept design or anything
Not
like
really
that?
into game concept design, although I would do it if the opportunity arose. I've done some movie concept art for something called London Fields, and I would like to do more of that. And comics, of course, is always an option. I've done a few. So basically, right now concentrating on the album art, and then I'm doing, comic book pages for a lot of the albums, so it keeps me warmed up for comics anyway. Like I did the 5-page mini comic for Perturbator's last album, Danger States.
So do you write the story for those, or does somebody give you a story?
We usually, for that one, and for all of his things, we just talk about it a lot, and then I kind of just freestyle it from there. We don't really go on a set script.
Yeah.
But for standard comics, there's just a set script that the writer gives you, and then you work from there. So I haven't written any comics. I've always followed someone else's script, but I'll also do ones where I kind of come up with it, but it's not as strict format, where it's written down first.
Okay. So if a writer came to you, like looking for art, you're down?
It has to be a very specific project for me to consider it.
Okay.
Because that's a lot of time, and right now I'm trying to focus on working exclusively on the Perturbator albums.
Okay, cool. Are there any other artists that have really inspired your work, or?
Definitely when I was a kid, I would always look at Jim Lee, X-Men comics.
Okay.
And he's still a big influence with his more recent Batman stuff. Joe Madureira, when I was in middle school, was my favorite. He did Battle Chasers, and he also had a brief run on X-Men. I like Mark Texier, who's known for Ghost Rider in the 90s. I like a lot of 90s comic book art, and recent comic book art too. I like Laniel Yu, and I like Sean Gordon Murphy a lot.
Okay, and does their style like show in your art?
I would say yeah, it does a little bit, but I would say it shows in every comic book artist's work who has a modern style, because they're just so influential.
Okay, cool.
Oh, and then I love Yoji, I think Shawada from the Metal Gear Solid concept art.
Nice.
That's another one. And then I also like old-fashioned illustration from like the 50s, 60s. A lot.
Okay, yeah, well, I guess I can see like the whole like 1920s, 30s.
Yeah,
thing.
I like all that stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You said you weren't really working on any prints or anything like that right now, and you're going to be waiting for the next Perturbator album?
Maybe.
Maybe?
That's up in the air. I haven't decided on that yet. But yes, eventually prints will happen.
Oh, the people will be excited.
Yes, eventually the prints will happen.
Okay. Everyone.
Occasionally I do prints.
In the comments like, hurry up! We've been waiting forever! So, we were also going to say that this piece that you just did on camera is going to be for sale.
Yes, sure. I mean, I'm open to that. Auction it.
Auction it, and price to be determined, I guess.
We'll see.
Talking about that as well, are you looking to do more commissions or work with any other musicians?
I mean, I'm always open to do commissions. I really like doing album covers. That's like, I don't know. I feel like I know how to do that, and I like doing it. But I don't like to take too many of them. I'm selective about which ones I take because I only want to do it for good music. And then I also don't want to water down the Perturbator stuff, who's the main guy I want to work with.
True. Okay. That is good to know. What are your plans for the future?
Plans for the future is just keep doing what I'm doing and improve on it. Just do it more frequently and better.
Is there anybody else you want to work with?
I really would like to work with like Cassette and Protector 101. They already know that.
Okay, well, then for the people who want to see that art, we'll
tell them.
let them know. And then I also have random questions.
Okay.
Well, I was going to ask you what kind of socks you like, but you are barefoot right now.
Yeah, socks. I'm not a big fan of socks, but I'll just wear any socks. I don't care. I don't
Okay.
care about socks at all.
Another random question. When was the last time you were disappointed in yourself?
Every day.
It's okay.
Every day I think I should have drawn more.
Yeah, okay, so that's life. That's how we all feel.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
I'm pretty pleased with myself also at the same time. So
You're just like, well, I drew a little bit,
Yeah.
but I should have drawn more.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, I'm
You
like,
can't ever be satisfied.
yeah, I mean, for me, that's what I do. I'm like, oh, I do NEONVICE stuff 24/7. Wish I did more.
Right.
There's not enough hours in the day.
No. Gotta have fun with it.
For your opinion, what is the weirdest food that you enjoy?
That's food I enjoy. Diet soda.
Oh, yeah, that is.
Most people hate it. I love it.
Like, you prefer the diet soda even if you're not on a diet? Or
I don't find. I find it just as good. I wouldn't say I prefer either one.
Okay. I'm ashamed. So that was our interview with Ariel, and if you enjoyed it, you can check out our site and our videos at patreon.com/neonvice. You can check out his page on Facebook and his blogspot. Just Google Ariel ZB. And yeah, thanks for the interview.